We are here at the Breckenridge Invitational, Industrial Invitational cross-country meet here at Breckenridge as the JV boys have just started.
Yeah, an industrial middle of the start line, great starting positions. They jump out in front. They're off and running.
And I'm doing what I can, folks, to keep this straight.
We call him Will Gimbal LaRue.
We're going to need to invest in one of those.
Those gimbals, those self-leveling.
Yes, there you go. That's what it's called. I did not know that was the name.
I believe. Let's just say I'm 40% confident.
Well, Industrial's Mason Hunt and Nico Espina in the top three right here at the start of this race.
Cooper Coley right behind at the front of the chase pack, joined by another industrial runner. I can't quite see that far. You can pick out the maroon. Nice thing today, Will. Industrial, the only school running in all maroon. Hallettsville has on the gray jerseys, and a couple other schools went with their secondary colors. So it's easy to spot these industrial runners, even if we can't tell who they are.
Yeah. 100% correct, Lee.
Especially, at the finish line where you can see a good, half mile away. You can't identify the kids, but you can definitely identify the schools, and you can hear the crowd start encouraging them on as they see their school colors coming around as those runners close down until eventually you can figure out who they are. Right now, no trouble figuring out who our two of our front lead pack are, though, as they are clearly within view as they continue to run from out front.
Yeah. And one of those lead runners here is Mason Hunt, another dual sport athlete in the fall rather. We talked about a little bit about that with a top performer this week at the Cobra Show. The Cobra Show League was with Kate Simons playing volleyball and doing cross country.
Yeah,
that's quite a load at the
is.
Start of school when you're trying to get back into the groove of things and having to being a two-sport athlete and as well as being a top student.
Right. No, that's one of the joys and challenges of being a small school. The joy is a lot of these guys, kids get to do multiple things. They get to experience a lot of different things that they enjoy doing. Of course, the challenge is working and training and perfecting that and being good at all those things. But, when you come from a smaller rural area, you get afforded opportunities where you can be a part of the band, athletics, multiple sports, participate in FFA, things like that. You have a lot of well-rounded kids.
Yeah, I come from a small school like that too, where you just played everything. And that is an added benefit. You're right. But one thing I did not play, though, Lee, I did not run cross country for two reasons. Practice was way too early in the morning, and the meets were way too early in the morning after a Friday night football game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of early morning problems there.
It's a sport that you have to be born to love because, one of my favorite sayings, we see it on the fence every time you pull into the high school, but cross country says, our sport is your punishment. And they're right. This sport is punishing. You have to be, tough and devoted. You want to be good at it. It takes work and it takes guts.
Sure, willpower too. And we've pointed it out a few times. It's almost a lot of these runners that we've been watching here today, Lee. You see them out in the front of the pack and they're out pacing and they're running and doing an absolute fantastic job. And then they just kind of nail that wall, and then it's that internal struggle to try to get over that hump and get through that, to push yourself through to get to the end of that race. A battle of self-will, if you will.
I will. You will. Oh, man. That feels good. Now it feels like we're hitting our stride, Will, because it wouldn't be a Cobra Sports broadcast without you, partner, if we didn't have some good one-liners.
You know, beautiful day today. Nice cool breeze blowing off the Texana. I like this part of the course a lot, Lee. Just a beautiful, beautiful backdrop setting. Really is a neat course, and I can see why so many schools want to come out and be a part of this race out here today.
Got a couple cotton pickers and a tractor going across the bridge in the distance behind these runners. We see nothing says Texas athletics like running with a cotton picker in the background, Will.
Another thing we learned too is we found out that the coaches try to keep up with their athletes riding bikes. So the coach, if you want to be a cross-country coach, you also got to be in shape too to be able to get around the track.
Yeah, you do. No, these guys, they definitely pick their spots. They know where their runners are going to need that encouragement. Maybe that check on time, that pacing advice. Some of them set up and take a stationary approach. Some of them, like you said, are getting to positions where they know their kids are going to need them, and they use bikes to get there. It just shows what it takes to be a high school coach these days. This is a job that is somewhat thankless, and frankly, these guys put in a ton of hours at personal expense, the cost of family time, things like that, and they do it all out of the love for these kids. I mean, they really do. They want to be there to support them, encourage them, teach them how to grow as young men and women, and, of course, better their lives for down the road as they grow into adulthood.
Yeah, you're right, Lee. They say, teaching is a rewarding job. You won't get rich at it, but it's definitely a rewarding job as you see students that you teach all through the years.
Folks, we just went
outstanding citizens.
You're exactly right. Folks, we just went through what they call dead Wi-Fi corner. It's a real test of these runners. But I will tell you who's overcome that obstacle. My partner, Will LaRue, has figured out a way where we can maintain video coverage through this entire race, as we have now recorded this rather than going live through our online platform. So if you're watching this later, give him a thumbs up and a like, because my partner just survived dead Wi-Fi corner.
That's been plaguing us the last couple of races, Lee. You're 100% correct. So, folks, in order for us to bring you the best coverage possible, this is what we're doing. We're pre-recording this race. So all of these events have already happened, but guess what? You didn't know that.
Magic of TV. And we still have 2 more races to go today, folks. The junior high Rattler girls will be running next, and then followed by the Rattler boys as they wind up the Industrial Invitational today. 6 races, and great showing out of Industrial ISD across the board through the start of the morning.
Yeah, Mason Hunt maintaining that second position, staying real close to the leader in this one.
And I've noticed around these corners, he's kind of reeled him in a little, it looks like, Will. This Calhoun runner in the lead tending to take kind of the outside angle. You'll see it right there as he's not hugging tight. And I think Mason's gaining ground.
You're right, Lee. I didn't even think about that part of it, but you're 100% correct. Almost like a NASCAR driver, right? Taking that least path of resistance and that least path to shorten up the distance to try to make a pass on someone. Get that inside corner, if you will.
That's it. There's some athletes with medals around their neck. You can tell they've already run with the varsity boys, and now they're walking this course, this long, multi-mile course, to come out and support their team as the underclassmen are running. And that, boy, you got a lot in the tank when you can run a 3.5-mile race and then come back out on it again the second time to just encourage your buddies and friends. And we see another coach on a bike in the background.
And he's getting it. Coming up on 10 minutes into the race now. These kids have been running for 10 minutes.
We are cruising at 12 miles an hour. Just to give you an idea.
3 miles an hour under Bias's pace earlier.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
There's Coach Anderson. And now we're taking the turn right here into the boys' course. The girls would have kept going straight down that ditch path right there to your right, but the boys are going to take this turn and go a little bit further in distance. As now we embark on the long, lonely stretch.
We just finished Dead Wi-Fi Corner. This is a lonely existence.
Yeah. This is the part we talked a little bit about. This is where you start seeing this part into the race, about 10 minutes in. This long distance run right here. There's so much space in front of you. Those turns and bends, the coverage of the trees, all of that's gone. And now it's that battle between yourself and sure will to try to just get past and overcome that wall.
Passing the gravel pits and the dump yard. And that's about all there is to enjoy right now.
Yeah.
As these runners just push.
Just to give you a little bit of perspective, we got to make our way all the way down there and back in and around those cabins. So you can kind of see what is ahead of for these boys.
It's a desolate, daunting stretch. I mean, when you see it in front of you and you know all I can do is just keep running down this road in a straight path, you have to find something inside you.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, it's that sheer will.
Yeah. As fatigue starts to set in, you just try to push through it. And looking at the road right here, I almost want to try to stay out of the middle of it because you see as vehicles have traveled up and down this road, it's kind of kicked rocks up into the middle and you've got some good sized rocks where you could possibly step a little wrong and roll an ankle.
One good thing about this desolate stretch is right now, if you're in second position, you have a target. You know, right now Mason is looking at that lead runner and he can start counting steps and start closing that gap. He knows he's got to define distance to do it. All he's got to do is pace off of him and accelerate just slightly ahead of him. They didn't have that advantage as they're weaving through the trees, can't really see each other. You don't know how far of a lead he's building. You don't know what you're trying to close down. It can be somewhat demoralizing in your mind, but right now, he's got everything right out there in front, kind of the carrot to go get. And if he'll match him, you'll see him start closing this down over this long stretch.
You know, Lee, that's a quite interesting perspective right there. Are you sure you did not run cross country?
You know, Will, I did not, but I did marry a 3-time state finalist because I like fast women.
3-time state finalist here at Industrial too. I had.
Yes,
right
yes. Jan Zacek Lewis was a cross country runner, and had a lot of classmates that were there. Danielle Kuchler, Natalie Woodring, of course, those are their maiden names back in the day. Jill Zacek, but a deep class of good runners.
Now 13 minutes and a half, actually 14 minutes into this race now as we make this turn into the cabin area.
And what we have seen is those front two have closed the gap on the lead. But right now you're seeing a kick out of that, what was third position, now moved up to second, Calhoun runner.
Now Mason Hunt keeping him right close and staying in position there.
He is trying to draft off of him as we get set to turn into this headwind. Slight breeze, not much of a wind, but a little bit. Right now, these runners know that they are about 300 yards from the finish line, and so they're going to start pacing to set up for that kick and that final push to try to position themselves on that podium. One person we have not accounted for, it looks like maybe Palacios, in the red, has come out of nowhere. He's really started distancing himself from the backpack and trying to close down this lead group.
And this lead group of 4 right here, Lee, is really separated itself from the rest of the race. The majority of the racers are on that long, desolate stretch right now.
The backbreaker.
As we take that turn, and you can kind of take a look and see where the majority of the runners are at right now, off in the distance.
Right now, you see Hunt putting a move on that second place Calhoun guy as he goes to the outside and closes around him. Now you can see the acceleration as he is pushing up on the lead runner. Right there was a big move. And he continues to drop that third place Calhoun runner as he closes almost on the heels right now, losing view because of the tree. But Will, I think that's your race right now.
I think so, and he's coming right up on him right now as we're going to try to get a view on the other side of this tree. Starting to make it close.
He's going in.
And he does, and Mason Hunt takes the lead in this race right now. Another tree branch getting in our way.
Calhoun's now trying to push back. They retook it. We're starting to see a neck-and-neck battle as these two runners willing themselves to go. Hunt retakes it again. They're neck and neck as they're pushing one another, trying to find anything in the tank that they can right now when it hurts the most. One thing we're seeing is Calhoun is starting to follow the path of Hunt. Hunt has been running a much smarter race as he stays inside. You see right now, feet not even on the gravel as he is hugging the interior. Calhoun, though, running about a foot outside of him and dropping fast. And you can see the separation. That's what we were talking about early in this race, where you have to run smartly because those little things will pay big dividends here at the end.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, Lee. Quickest way to point A to point B is...
Follow Mason Hunt?
I'll take it. Coming into this final stretch as Mason is beginning to pull separation, but away from that Calhoun group of 1 and 2. We've now moved into 2 and 3. There's his mom cheering him on. That's what you get here in the cross country. Fans get to get in.
And he's done nothing but open this lead up, Will.
That encouragement from mom to get that kick in to try to finish strong here as we're in the final stretch. We've got one more turn into the finish lane.
Yeah, and this is that big ditch that these guys have to contend with. There's a big culvert right here as they try to get down and up on dead legs, and you know it's got to hurt when you hit the bottom and try to climb that hill.
Calhoun seeing the finish line and really trying to make a push. Mason hears the crowd cheering, and he
has kicked it in as we're running at 15 miles an hour right now.
And I'm sorry for the bumpy finish, folks, but Mason Hunt Industrial takes it here at the Breckenridge Invitational. Great race. Great race ball. Calhoun ends up taking this second, and the Palacios runner ends up taking third. And there's our Calhoun leader for most of the race coming in fourth.
$20.01 is the winning time. Mason Hunt in with a time of 20:01.
When's the last time you ran for 20 minutes, Lee?
I don't remember, Will. we're gonna leave that one as a no comment.
Here comes the next group of runners. Looks like it's going to be another Palacios Shark coming in. He will finish in the top 5. Well, we have a race down at the end of the
we do.
Finish line drive here, and that's Nico Espina kicking it in gear. He's got to sprint to the end right here to get the Palacios Shark. We'll see who ends up taking this one right here at the end.
And
that's
it's Espina.
It is with the head. Good strong finish there to have the stamina to be able to push through there at the end.
Yeah, that was a pretty run. He was using every bit of those long legs he's got to try to save every inch he could, as that was a tight finish.
Another Palacios Shark coming in here again.
Sharks are showing up well.
They sure are in this race for sure. We're followed by a Yoakum runner. A couple of Yoakum runners. "22 minutes into this race now, as the remaining racers continuing to gain support from their family and friends that are here to cheer them on.
There are 4 medals remaining. Individual medalists handed out, and it looks like
Levi Feuerbacher
is going to claim one of them.
Levi, they're the cheerleaders again, out handing out medals. Another close finish here at the finish line. There's another industrial runner coming up. It's Braden Warren. And then Cooper Coley off in the distance. Braden finishes. And we've got a race here. Another industrial runner.
That's a top 20 finish right there.
A lot of industrial runners in here at the top. I'm curious to see how they ended up finishing as a team, Lee. I would say between them and Palacios, the majority of the runners are finishing, and Calhoun.
Yeah, no, that was your 20th finisher right there. And so all of these industrial runners you've seen across the finish line previous to this took home a top 20 today. That's big.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Let's see if we can't get a hold of one of the industrial winner.
We're going to go ahead and close it down and go start the junior high race now.
Okay. That's fine. All right, we'll be right back.